South Africa, they are in an amazing form right now. So they've not lost a game in 90 minutes since January 2024, almost 2 years now. Though technically they lost by 3 goals to 0 against Lesotho, that match was lost in the boardroom, not on the pitch. So on the pitch, in almost 2 years, they haven't lost in 90 minutes of football. And this is the side now be entering the group stage of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. So here's a full preview about Bafana Bafana, Team South Africa, analyzing the team itself, the players to watch in this team, possibly their biggest hurdles, and prediction of where South Africa will finish at the AFCON. So you want to keep tuned. All right, so my name is Dennis Seram, OAF, our African football over here. And let's dive straight into the South Africa team. They are ranked number 61 currently in the FIFA rankings and also number 11. So outside the top 10 of Africa. But those rankings sometimes are a bit deceptive as to the actions on the court of play because, as I said in my introductions, they haven't lost in 90 minutes on the pitch for 2 years now. They qualified to the AFCON, finishing top of their group in the qualifiers, which had Uganda, Congo Republic, and also South Sudan. And they didn't lose a game in all the qualifying matches. Under the now coach Hugo Bruce, South Africa have completely been transformed from not qualifying to the 2021 AFCON to now qualifying to back-to-back AFCON tournament. 2023, which they won the bronze medal. Then now 2025, where the expectations are very high for Bafana Bafana. There are many reasons for this transformation, and one has to be him building the team of players who had vast experience of playing on the continent, especially in CAF football. So the team for the AFCON 2023 had, I think, about 95. Majority of the players were playing right here in Africa, mostly in South Africa, and had played a lot of CAF football tournaments in the CAF Champions League and also the CAF Confederations Cup. But most important will be the discipline and cohesion he's been able to build amongst the players, both on and off the pitch. And it's been evident in the call-ups, with some players even on form not being allowed into the team because they could potentially harm the cohesion and the discipline of the squad. Now, here's the 55-man provisional squad call-up for the AFCON. This team will be trimmed down to 23 and a maximum of 28 per the request of the team and also the FA, what they want, whether 23, 24, 25, 26, but up to 28. That is the maximum number, and the minimum is 23. So they are not really notable names in terms of players on form here who are omitted from this list. So there is Rowan Williams in the list, the 2024 African Footballer of the Year nominee. There is also Teboho Mokoena, who was very impressive in the last Africa Cup of Nations in this list. Then also the Belly striker Lau Foster also made the South Africa team. But from this same 55-man provisional squad, we could see some young players make their AFCON debut if they make the cuts into the final squad. One is Mbekezele Mbokazi, who has been phenomenal since making his debut for Orlando Pirates in South Africa last season. He went from being a youth team player to now getting his debut and cementing his place in the Orlando Pirates team. They're now cementing his place in the South African national team, and he's poised to make his AFCON debut as is expected to be in the final squad. There is also Tylon Smith in this 55-man provisional squad team. He was with the South Africa Under-20 team, also a defender, and was the player of the tournament at the 2025 Under-20 AFCON. He now plays for KPR in England, so he could also potentially be making his AFCON debut. Then there is also the young forward Mohamed Kotha, who plays in Saudi Arabia. He made his name also last season after making his debut with Orlando Pirates. He's now gotten the deal to play in Saudi Arabia, but he's still a big part of the South African national team, and he could potentially be making his AFCON debut. But there were also some notable names which didn't make it to the final AFCON squad, and the biggest of which all will be Percy Tau, who was one of the faces of South Africa in the last AFCON tournament. Percy Tau now plays in Vietnam, and he doesn't really get enough playing time, even in Vietnam. I mean, it looks like he's at the latter end of his career and couldn't make it to the final squad for the AFCON. Tembin Kosilot plays for Wydad Casablanca in Morocco, and the last time South Africa played an AFCON in North Africa, that was 2019 in Egypt. He was the hero on the tournament where he scored in the round 16 stage to eliminate Egypt. He plays in Morocco, and the AFCON will be in Morocco, but he couldn't make the final squad to the AFCON tournament, even though he's on form with his club. Then Grant Kekana, who also played a major role for South Africa at the last AFCON until he got a red card in the semi-final, yes, against Nigeria. He played a very big part in defense, but he couldn't really make into the 55-man squad for this year's tournament. But now let's look at a few players towards the ones who could potentially be the stars of South Africa at this AFCON. And number one will be this man, Austin Apollos of Orlando Pirates. So this is a player who is in the form of his life, brewing in hot form right now. He's simply dangerous on the ball, can make things happen from shooting from afar to score, has the creativity to create chances for his opponent, and also very good technique, even on set pieces. It's no surprise that he already has 8 goals and 5 assists in all competitions already for both club and country, and he's one man South Africa really depend on in the AFCON. Another man will have to be Koliso Modal of Mamelodi Sundowns. So it's very rare to see a right back or a full back who has a good day or a good game every single time. But that is what Koliso Modal delivers for you. And known for his experience in stopping wingers. When it comes to 1v1, he does so well in stopping a lot of wingers. And there are a lot of players who have been in the Budao jail, let me say, for failing to beat him. But also these days, he's learned the ability to be very explosive, even moving forward, and also adds a lot to his team play in attack. Then Teboho Mokoena will also be very influential to the play of South Africa in the AFCON, the man who makes the team take in the heart of midfield. Anytime he's on the ball, he's controlling where the ball is going to, whether the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Various resistance player, and even on rare occasions can strike the ball so well from range, so can even be a threat in midfield, and was one of the best players at the last AFCON also. South Africa at this AFCON are in group with, that is Egypt, Zimbabwe, and Angola. So this group is difficult on different levels. One, there is Egypt, who are very desperate to win the AFCON, and even Mo Salah, who is also desperate to win the AFCON for the first time in his career. Two, you have Angola, who were quarter-finalists at the last AFCON. And even though in recent times they've lost form, the players who did their job for them are still around and they can reappear to their best form at any time. Then three, there is Zimbabwe, who of course are their neighbors. They'll be returning to the AFCON after failing to make it in 2023. And don't forget, it was this same Zimbabwe team who almost denied South Africa from making it to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So they are not really a team you can write off easily. South Africa has different experiences with all these teams in the group stage right now. In 2019, Egypt had the hopes of winning the AFCON because they were hosting it right on the home soil, and they had won all their games until they met South Africa in the round 16 stage. And as I mentioned earlier, it was Tembin Koshiloch of South Africa who became the hero of the match, scoring the only goal to eliminate the host nation, Egypt, in the round 16 stage. So even in 1998, well, Egypt won the AFCON and it was South Africa they beat in the final. So this will be a repeat of these two teams coming off again in the AFCON. South Africa has also played Angola on numerous times, from World Cup qualifiers, from AFCON, even friendly matches. And they are yet to lose a game to Angola. So there's a country they have the upper hand over. Then there is Zimbabwe, who are the regional rivals of South Africa. But then also in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers and the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, these two teams were in the same group, South Africa and Zimbabwe. And South Africa finished ahead of Zimbabwe on both occasions. So another country they have the upper hand over. So despite this group being tough for South Africa, they have the upper hand on all the teams in this group actually. The last time Egypt beat them was in 1998. They have the upper hand on Zimbabwe, have the upper hand on Angola. So to my prediction, well, I consider South Africa to be one of the serious dark horses of the AFCON, even though they will not be part of the traditional favorites for most people, and they are maybe top 3 or top 4 teams to win the AFCON. For most people, it will be rare to see them mention South Africa. I consider them to be one of the dangerous, like the serious dark horses. And my prediction is probably a semi-final finish for South Africa at this AFCON. But you can also let me know, what do you think will be the prediction for South Africa? Will this year finally be the year they win the AFCON again after winning it the first time in 1996. Or what else? Let me know in the comment section.